When do we know the end game is here? And there are going to be a lot of different signals, like, panic in the streets and people eating each other, but probably not the last one, but hopefully not the last one. But what we will see is a 15-to-1 ratio of silver to gold, which itself proves that silver is still money and the demonetization of silver is just a myth. The dollar no longer functions as a gold derivative at all, and people have to return to silver as money. It is going to happen. It is going to be the ultimate signal that the end game is here. And that is when you have to use your silver to buy stuff because the economy is starving for money. And without money, there can be no division of labor.
Throughout history, the gold-silver ratio has experienced notable shifts. Traditionally, the ratio has hovered around 15:1 to 16:1, reflecting the natural abundance ratio of gold to silver in the Earth's crust. However, due to various factors like mining techniques, industrial demand, and market speculation, this ratio has evolved and is around 85:1 in 2023. Rafi Farber, a prominent figure in the financial market, predicts a significant signal of a 15-to-1 gold-silver ratio during financial crises, indicating a shift away from the dollar's reliance on gold. Silver will move higher in 2024 because the top in yields is confirmed. The US dollar did already confirm its inability to move much higher. Both are supportive developments for precious metals. In the 2023 Silver Report, Rafi foresees the imminent endgame, while he believes that silver will return to monetary status. In recent years, 23 states have introduced or passed legislation to recognize gold and silver as currency. Silver is still traded and sold for its value as a precious metal. While silver fell out of use as an ordinary form of payment after the U.S. Mint changed the composition of coins in 1965, silver coins can still be used today. Meanwhile, Rafi debunks the myth of silver demonetization, emphasizing that the initial step in controlling a monetary system is not to seize gold, but to demonetize silver. Now, we present the clips of Rafi Farber's insights from his recent video from Arcadia Economics. Before we continue to delve into this discussion, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates.
To wrap up 2023, there are two questions that I get quite often, and one of them I've just recently decided what the answer is, and the other one I've known for a while. So one question is, what is really on the bottom of the pyramid, the inverted pyramid that we all know so well, Extra's pyramid? Is it really gold, or is silver below gold in the pyramid? And my definitive answer now is that yes, silver is below gold in the pyramid. Okay, the myth of silver demonetization. The point of this article is to explain that the first step in destroying or monopolizing a monetary system by a government is not to confiscate gold, but to demonetize silver. The dollar originally was a derivative of both gold and silver. It was a bimetallic standard, and there are problems with that because then you have to establish a fixed ratio between gold and silver, which never holds 100% because supply and demand are always changing. But what was that monetary ratio? That was 15-to-1. And once the dollar changed from a silver and gold dollar to a specifically gold dollar, that means all of the purchasing power that existed in silver then moved all to gold. And this happened in 1873. It was essentially a wealth transfer, as we see all the time with bailouts in the Federal Reserve, but the move to a gold standard from a bimetallic standard was itself a wealth transfer to the wealthy because the middle class owned silver and the rich owned gold. And by making the dollar only deliverable and convertible into gold and not silver, the purchasing power of silver collapsed into merchandise and all the monetary purchasing power went into gold. And once you have that, then it's much easier to confiscate gold because you can't confiscate all the silver in an economy. It is impossible because silver is everywhere, but it's much easier to confiscate gold and control the monetary system that way. So as much as we like to talk about a gold standard and we want to go back to a gold standard, what we really want to do is go back to a silver standard and a gold standard, two separate monies that compete on the free market. And that is how a monetary system should be structured. The other question is related to this. I get this all the time. When do we know the end game is here? And there are going to be a lot of different signals, like, panic in the streets and people eating each other, but probably not the last one, but hopefully not the last one. But what we will see is a 15-to-1 ratio of silver to gold, which itself proves that silver is still money and the demonetization of silver is just a myth. How do we know that? Because in times of monetary panic, the ratio always goes back to 15 to 1. It's happened three times: in 1919 after the World War I inflation, in 1968 at the fall of the London gold pool, and in 1980 during the dollar panic of 1980, which almost killed the dollar entirely. At each of these panic points, silver to gold, gold to silver actually goes to 15 to 1. And we're going to see that again. And that means that the dollar no longer functions as a gold derivative at all. And people have to return to silver as money. It is going to happen. It is going to be the ultimate signal that the end game is here. And that is when you have to use your silver to buy stuff because the economy is starving for money. And without money, there can be no division of labor. I wanted to close this week's silver report and the last silver report of 2023 with an assurance that the end game is coming. It's probably not going to be as bad as your worst nightmare, but it's going to be pretty rough. I do believe it's coming this year. That's just my own personal thoughts. You can have different calculations. And I am a true believer in this sense that after it does happen and silver returns to be money, even if for a brief period, which will mean that the monetary system has collapsed, I don't think I'll be doing this anymore because we will be in a new world. So I am a true believer in that sense. And in order to get through this period until it actually happens, there has to be a switch in our heads from dread of the end game to acceptance and actually rooting for it, not for any of the negative consequences of it, but to get this over with and to get humanity back in balance again because we are way out of line as a species on this planet for many different reasons. We can see society collapsing everywhere in the West, in the South, in the North, over here, pretty much all over the world. Things are intolerable. But you know what fixes it? Silver fixes it. And a true balanced money will bring humanity back into true balance with our planet.
Rafi Farber notes positive trends in gold and silver stocks, highlighting recurring triangle patterns in major indices since 2011. The GDX ETF signals an imminent significant breakout based on the notable pattern. The biggest beneficiaries of higher gold prices remain the gold miners' stocks. The leading GDX, NYSE, GDX. Gold stock ETF surged 63.9% during gold's last 26.3% up leg that topped in early May 2023, making for 2.4x upside leverage. However, Rafi points out Fortuna Silver Mines' unique position, foreseeing substantial growth after expected triangle breakouts in major indices. Drawing from past instances, he suggests significant increases in stock value. Moreover, in the last 12 months, Fortuna Silver Mines Inc.'s shares have gained 0.59%, while this year they have boosted 0.98%. Following today's trading, Fortuna Silver Mines Inc. has a market capitalization of $1.58 billion on a float of 306,460 shares outstanding. Let's get back to the interview.
But let's continue with some warm, nice patterns in the gold and silver stock market. I'm going to show you the same triangle in different gold stock indexes or indices. I don't know exactly how you pluralize that these days. So this triangle in gold stocks goes back all the way to 2011. And we are coming to an apex point pretty soon. We could be there any month now. And you see here that the lower trend line, it's not perfect. We went a little bit below it during the 2020 panic, but it's pretty good. This is the XAU. This is one of the older gold stock indexes out there. And we see here we are coming at an apex right now just above the 200-week moving average. But this is not the only major triangle in the gold stock market and silver stock market. So we have the triangles continue here. And the Huey gold stock index, more people would be familiar with. It's the same triangle. It's even better, actually, because it doesn't seem to be broken at all since 2011, right? The upper trend line here is established in 2020, in August 2020, when just after the lockdowns caused the gold and silver market to spike. We broke through very, very briefly during the 2022. I think that was the invasion of Ukraine or something, maybe a little bit afterwards. Here is silver squeeze up here. And the lower trend line was touched in 2018, 2019, the panic of 2020, and the low in 2022. And we look pretty close to breaking out here. And this breakout's going to be pretty big because this triangle is pretty enormous. And I'll just quickly show you the last one here. This is in the GDX, the GDX ETF. It's not as perfect, but it's pretty much the same thing. We're headed for a resolution of this triangle. And that brings us to our sponsor for this week's Silver Report, which is FSM, Fortuna Silver Mines, symbol FSM, which is not in a triangle, unlike its gold and silver peers, which shows you that once these triangles in those major indexes, right, in the GDX, in HUI, in the XOU, once they resolve higher, and they will, what happens to Fortuna? Well, we've seen when there is a burst in gold and silver stocks, as there was at the end of the gold stock bear market, of the gold bear market in 2015, the FSM just it quintupled, and here it almost went up about 10 times from bottom to top here. So we can expect something similar if those triangles break out, which I think they will. FSM itself is not in a triangle because it is a different animal. Its stock movements are pretty different, as you can see here. But if you want some good exposure to the gold and silver price through miners, then do your own due diligence and take a look at Fortuna Silver Mines.
For more than a century now, governments and central banks have been actively meddling in pricing the values for silver and gold. As a consequence, the over 5,000-year average gold to silver ratio of about 15 has only in the last century or so ballooned to a ratio of 100 at times. The general consensus among analysts is that silver could hit $30 per ounce this year, and from there, could jump higher quite quickly, as has happened in the past. Some forecasts suggest a range of $30 to $50 per ounce as a result. How do you perceive the anticipated silver market breakthrough in 2024 and its potential impact on broader precious metal investments? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to support our channel and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos. See you in the next video.